Access cloud storage. In this section, we're going to take a look at the advantages of Firebase cloud storage, how to download and upload images to the cloud, and how to keep our storage servers secure. Debugging common Firebase issues. In this video, we're going to take a look at common issues that stem from integrating Firestore with authentication that have manifested in our app. Integrating Firebase services together can lead to a few common issues. Now would be a good time to address some of them, especially those that stem from authentication and Firestore working together. Now don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing at all for them to be working together. In fact, they're meant to be used that way, but I don't want you to catch my carelessness when developing. Now our first issue is more of just something we've missed, more than an issue caused by combining the two. You may have noticed this, but we don't have a way to log out. And one of the most common ways that apps log out is to just have a menu here that lets us log out. So we're going to do that quickly right now. We're going to create a new menu object and call it menu main. And all I have here is a simple item that says sign out. In our main activity, we want to override on options item selected, as well as on options create options menu. In our main activity, we want to override on create options menu, as well as on options item selected. In here, we're going to do our usual method of inflating our menu, and then in on options item selected, we're going to identify our item's ID and compare it to IC_logout, which is the ID we defined earlier. And then when that menu button is clicked, we're going to call Firebase auth.getInstance.signout, and that's all we need to do to sign out. Now when we do, we want to refresh back to the authentication screen so that the user can sign in again, and all we need to do for that is init Firebase, because that's where we have it anyway. So I need to return true for this, return false outside the brackets, and return true inside the brackets. And then I'm going to test that in my phone. So we've got our menu. Let's sign out. And it looks like our app has crashed. Now let's go into the logcat and identify the source of that crash, as we do when we debug. And we can see that the issue is now with Firestore, which leads us to our second issue. InitList, a method that we defined here, does eventually. Since we logged out, our UID is now null, and our database is trying to fetch from a document that doesn't exist, hence our app crashes. So what we can do to fix this is make sure that this method, addListListener, doesn't get called if we're not authenticated. And we're going to go back to init Firebase for that. See, we've got addListListener right here, and it's right on top of our authentication method. So what we're going to do is just move that below it, and to make sure that that statement doesn't get reached, we're going to add a return statement after our authentication screen is launched. So we're going to try that once again. And now our app goes into the authentication screen without fail. There is, however, one more problem. When we sign back into our app, we don't see any of our list items that used to be there. And that's because if we go back down to the callback, we see that nothing really happens other than getting our UID. So how we're going to fix this is after getting the UID, we're just going to init Firebase once more. And we probably don't need this log anymore, so I'm just going to delete it. Now I'm going to test that once more, and I've gone back here again. So I'm going to sign in, and now we see our database items. So that seems to be all of our issues resolved. So as a short recap, these are the things we found. Our sign out button was missing, signing out crashes the app, and signing in didn't immediately show our list items. And we managed to fix all that quite quickly as well.